Please welcome Brandon McGee, producer. Please welcome Matthew Cherry, film director. Please welcome Spencer Pasinger, TV, film, writer, and producer. Moore Street Productions. Please welcome Isaac Keys, actor.
All right. Well, I'm Isaac Keys, former football player. I played for Minnesota Vikings. Don't get that mixed up. Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals. I transitioned to acting about 14 years ago. I'm excited about it, and I have passion in directing, eventually, and mentorship in kids, and just kind of telling my story and sharing it with other people. So, life's a journey, and I'm here to talk about it.
All right, I'll go next. What's up, y'all? My name is Spencer Pasinger. I'm a writer and producer, entrepreneur, ex-NFL athlete, played 7 years, 4 years with the Giants, 2 years with the Dolphins, and my last year with the Carolina Panthers. I won the Super Bowl my first year with the Giants, and then my second to last year, pitched and sold the TV show All American, which is loosely based on my life growing up in South Central, but attending Beverly Hills High School. It's been retired about three seasons now, 3 or 4 seasons, and it's been a whirlwind, but exciting. I'm still learning every day, so I'm just happy to be on the panel with you guys.
That's dope. That's dope. Hey, my name is Brandon McGee. I played in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys, Cleveland Browns, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, while at the same time I played minor league baseball with the Boston Red Sox. I recently, I think it was 2 years ago now, I sold a story about my life titled Red Zone with 2 Ds, named after my best friend Dominic Red that was murdered at the age of 15. And now I'm producing and writing. I would love to direct. I love to hop in and try my acting thing. I'm just all for everything in Hollywood right now.
Love it. And what's going on, guys? My name is Matthew A. Cherry. Played 3 years in the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Carolina Panthers, and the Baltimore Ravens. Been in entertainment for about 14 years now, similar to Isaac. Retired in 2006 and I moved to LA, started as a PA, worked my way up to being a writer, director, and a producer. Direct TV, shows like Blackish, trying to think, Wonder Years recently, getting ready to do Bel Air in next week. Wrote a couple independent films, and we did this little project a couple of years back called Hair Love, and won an Oscar for Best Animated Short, and we have a children's book out that is doing pretty well as well. So that's my journey.
Dope panel. Yeah, man. Good to meet y'all, man. You know what I mean? From the gridiron to the big screens. Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it.
I feel like we live in 2 dreams. Like the first dream was football, and then I think we go into the second one. A lot of people only live one dream. You know what I mean? They fighting to get that one dream, but I feel like we on that second one, man, and more to come for sure.
Sure.
I call it our first career because I never considered football a career. It's you can't play it for 30 or 40 years and then retire and go off into the sunset. So as all the success that we found, it was still just a job, So I definitely think we're all in our first career.
And to touch on that, I think we don't really I mean, they tell you at that age, you coming in at 21, 22, and they tell football, the NFL stands for not for long, but when you in it, you don't really realize it. And I think a lot of times what happens is, especially when you grind and try to make the teams and those are the things, you don't really you don't put the energy towards what else you would do outside of football. Yeah. So you for me, I was caught up in just like trying to make the teams that I wasn't really trying to look at what else I was going to do outside of it. Because I felt like I had to focus so much on football. So when it stopped, it was like came to an abrupt stop. It's like, what I'm gonna do now? You know what I'm saying? And you sitting there at late, probably 30, and you still young in life, but you old in football, and you like, what else I'm getting ready to do? And then that journey starts to happen. I don't know, man. I just feel like entertainment is. I didn't know what the hell I was getting ready to do. So I defined my passion in entertainment was a blessing, and I think as coming from me for football, that was my passion. So it was so hard to find something else that I could feel wholeheartedly about to do in life, because everything else felt like I was doing it half-assed, and like I don't want to do that. So, but I was trying different things, but nothing really fit. And then ran across some other actors just doing like a panel, something like this, and I started talking to them. I was like, that sounds interesting. And I was in Phoenix, Arizona. It wasn't no acting market in Phoenix, Arizona at the time. So I'm looking, and he's like, well, you gotta go to LA and take acting classes. I'm like, take acting classes? I was like, okay. And so for me, I packed it up and I moved, stayed on my cousin's couch. I let go of everything in Arizona because it was at a place, it was like 2008, the market was crashed. And I stayed on my cousin's couch and I just started working, like trying to find a commercial agent and just starting to try to get into the system. And acting class helped me because I was around other actors, and that helped me understand, because there's no set path for acting or entertainment. It's all like trial and error, at the time. So it's like I had to be around other people doing the thing, kind of like being in the locker room and just kind of like learning from the other people around.
Yeah. I think for me, when I knew the entertainment industry was my passion, it was like a slow burn throughout my entire NFL career. So for me, I would go every off day, I would go see a movie at the theater. So it was, Tuesday night, make dinner, go get dinner, go to a movie, sometimes see a double feature. And then after a couple years, I started like detailing what was happening in movies before it would happen. So just understanding the structure of a feature before actually knowing what it was. Like, oh, he's gonna die, like this is a dream, that person's actually the villain, and being right like 80% of the time. Like my girlfriend back then, now wife, was like pissed off at me because I would call stuff out in theater and it'd be right. So after a few years, I started thinking like, well, if I'm doing this, like, why don't I just see what the structure of story is? Like, so started reading books in my off time, downloaded Final Draft on my iPad, and was just started like teaching myself how to screenwrite, to the point where I was in Carolina on my last year. We had already been like kind of working on All American, but I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. It was this untitled project that we were writing. And I was in a defensive meeting room. It was a Wednesday. We were putting in our defensive install. I'm talking like Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, Shaq Thompson, Julius Peppers, like all these greats that would probably find themselves in the Hall of Fame one day. We're all in this room, like putting together our defense. And I have an idea for a short film of my barber, like literally going missing and me having to find a new barber in Los Angeles. And I was like, okay, let me just like write a couple notes down of this short film that I think could be a short film at this point. And I look up and legit 45 minutes have passed. And I didn't write any defenses down that day. One of the worst practices I ever had. Didn't know any calls, any checks, anything that practice. But I remember thinking, once I popped my head up and realized that I didn't write those defenses, I was like, oh, this is my new passion now. And legit the next week I got released and told my wife, like, I think I'm done. If All American at least gets a pilot order, that's enough for me to hang it up and go into this industry full head of steam.
Look at you all these years later. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Y'all rolling.
Yeah, like what Spencer was saying, bro, every off day, I go to the movies. Even after away games, I fly back home because we play at noon. I get back home. I'm in the movie theater checking out the films. And shoot, my career ended all of a sudden and couldn't play anymore. I was injured. Body wasn't right. Mind wasn't right. Didn't know what to do. I saw a Dwayne Johnson movie and was like, fuck it. If he can do it, I'm about to move to LA and try to be an actor and take them acting classes. And them acting classes ain't no joke, man. I'm used to wearing a helmet and pads. These people were breaking down, crying. Hey, it was really hard. It was really hard. And then I reached out to the Alumni Association at Arizona State, and I signed up for this thing called Film Spark. I learned about producing and writing and directing and all the stuff behind the scenes instead of being on the screen. And I instantly fell in love with it. And from that point on, I knew I had a great story to tell, but I didn't know anybody in Hollywood. So I literally went on YouTube and I typed in Will Smith producing. And a video came up with him and Caleb Smith and he was teaching him how to be a writer in Hollywood. And during that video, he lists like 15 books. So I took a snapshot of those books and I read them all. And that's when I knew I fell in love with the industry, because I don't even like to read, bro. And I was reading all those books, and then things just started to click because I had a bigger understanding of how everything works. And now most of my projects are with Westbrook. So, you know, I'm happy I watched the video, but that's my passion. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah. You know, I'll say for me, you know, I always just love movies, you know, growing up, you know, all my movies though were never like, you know, I don't know if y'all ever feel like this, like sometimes like the film industry in general is like very like kind of bougie, right? Like you gotta watch all the French movies, and you know what I'm saying, like the obscure stuff. And like for me growing up, man, like I loved all the commercial stuff, like you know, Barry Gordy's Last Dragon. So you know, people be talking about their influences. I'm like, man, Loving Basketball, like Best Man, you know, like talking about these classic black films. And I don't know, man, really Loving Basketball, I would say was probably the first one. I was like, man, like that's crazy how she was able to, because Gina Prince, she used to play basketball at I think she went to Oregon, and but went to film school at UCLA, and just like really seeing her story and how she was able to put things together, you know, really was the first time I was like, man, like that's really cool. And I ended up majoring in film and TV broadcast and media production at the University of Akron. And, you know, you guys probably heard of it, you know, small school, like, you know, I don't think anybody there for the most part had like these NFL dreams coming from like a smaller school. But then you have players that you play with that end up making it. Like I remember Jake Shafino was a receiver that played, and Dwight Smith was one of my teammates, and really kind of got the dream. And I was always like the dude in college that was trying to balance like the film thing and like trying to play ball. And I remember my coach literally had to sit me down and be like, you know, you're here on a scholarship, bro. Like, you know, you put all your time into your major. And I was like, this has got to be the first time somebody ever got told to focus like less on school. And then, you know, when I made it to the league as an undrafted free agent, you know, my story is a little different from y'all. I kind of knew right off rip, like, damn, I got to get this plan B going ASAP, because, you know, ain't no love for the undrafted kids. It's like being a walk-on basically. And, you know, I remember getting with you. Yeah, and I remember getting cut in training camp and then put on the practice squad and just being like, all right, like I really got to get this plan B thing together, and just really notice like how a lot of dudes, like they really hadn't thought about what they wanted to do next. And, you know, kind of being kind of rare and kind of already knowing what I wanted to do. And, you know, stuck and stayed, you know, they told me that they said the average is 3 years. I tried to stick it out for as long as I could. Just kind of got tired of moving around and like living in city to city, ended up retiring. And, one time when I was with the Bengals, I went to LA for the first time, and I heard about this program called Streetlights. And it's this nonprofit program that basically is for like men and women of color to try to learn how to become production assistants. And, you know, this lady gave me the info. I applied. Literally, the last time I got cut when I was with the Ravens, I was like, all right, I'm about to just move to LA and try to get into this program. And I ended up getting in, and just from there, just being on set. You know, shows like Girlfriends was the first TV show I was a PA on, and then Heroes season 3, the second year, and just being around all these people that look like you doing all these odd jobs, because I feel like a lot of guys don't even realize like you can make 6 figures being a barber. You know, you can make 6 figures moving electric cables around and driving the truck and all this other stuff, and just really just seeing like all the possibilities. And when I was on Heroes, I remember seeing like 3 Black directors get to direct on that show at a time before, this is like pre-diversity. This is when like, you know, it was like 10 Black dudes basically making moves in the industry as directors. And I remember just seeing these cats and being like, all right, you know, this is what I really want to do. And so I just started like really studying, and like you guys, watching a lot of movies and reading up on stuff, and started just building it up. You know, started directing music videos, then transitioned to short films and did a couple of indie features, and you know, now doing a lot of TV. So, you know, definitely a journey. But I think the biggest thing is like when you see cats that look like you doing it, and like being inspired by people like Terry Crews and the brother that was on Isaiah Mustafa that was on the Old Spice commercial, and obviously The Rock. You know, it's just like really dope seeing cats that transition, and it really makes you want to do it too. Like the OGs like Jim Brown and Carl Weathers, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, just the fact that are we all undrafted?
Yep.
On here?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
I think just
they pick me up.
yeah, like having that kind of like, they call it the chip on your shoulder because you don't really know like if you'll have tomorrow in the league. I think that allowed us to always look for that second option. So I remember getting into the league and being like, well, tomorrow's not promised. Let me see what else is out there. So I was doing, like, I graduated with an economics degree, and I'm thinking like I'm gonna wear, the suit and tie, be on Wall Street. I'm playing for the Giants. I'm gonna get into these rooms of billionaires and rub those elbows and doing something like that. But it was all under the idea that, I just had to do something because I knew I likely wasn't signing that 50, $75 million contract just by my interest into the league. So like, going to the next question, like what skills from your NFL career have you applied to your current role?
I think if I was to touch on that, people don't see all the grit and work that goes behind. They just see the games most of the time. So they don't understand how long, as players we will be at the practice facility from when it's dark outside and leave when it's dark, depending on what city you're in, and how many hours you put in for studying and how big the playbook is, and then not only physically but mentally, not knowing necessarily if you're gonna play, if you hurt, or trying to compete on the field, but at the same time keep the camaraderie with other team members. And I think what football helped me is just the work ethic. I just kind of transferred over knowing that, okay, if I want something bad enough, then I need to put the work in behind it. So that it transferred over to like the acting classes. Acting classes to me was like a practice. It's like I'm gonna go in there with the intent to do the best I can, but also learn, keep my eyes and ears wide open and learn not only for myself, but looking at other people in the class and learning that. But then like you all have done, learn about what's going on behind the business, because honestly, it's tumultuous how you feel in acting because it's sacrifice with no guarantee. Like you literally are out there putting yourself on the line every time and getting told no, even if it's not told directly to you. So the rejection part is real. You know what I mean? So I think football kind of helped build that tough skin to kind of understand, like, okay, if that didn't work, let's get back on the line and let's do it again. Let's try to do it. But the persistence that you have to get, man. Like, football, you get knocked down, you get back up. Acting is the same way. You might literally get knocked down, but it's like, okay, I got to do this again. Like it is like it wears on you mentally. So you have to come in here mentally strong now, not just physically. And for me, man, it's still that. But football helped me a lot just because of the work ethic and just everything that I put through. And I now understand that process led me to where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, I definitely think like the putting in the work, really putting in the work. I think somehow former athletes get the rap of being like lazy and like just trying to throw some money at stuff. And I'm like, everybody that I know in the industry that's a former athlete, man, they work harder than anybody. Like they will go hard. They'll be at every panel. Like, I know y'all probably know Thomas Jones. Like, this brother out here in LA, Ubering, you know what I'm saying? Like not even really living with the frills and stuff that he really could be living like, because he really want to live it like he's speaking. He's not trying to like have anything handed. And I think there's just like, I think there's a mentality when you make it to the league, because it's only like 1 in a million, literally. Like it's like a 1 in a million opportunity to even make it there. And if you can make to somewhere at the highest level, I think you have that in your mind. Like, all right, well, this next career, if I keep that same work ethic and I keep going hard, you know what I'm saying? I think there's something to having made it to the highest level in one career that really carries over. And I don't know, I think it's just kind of like an extra edge that a lot of times guys have, because that if you work hard enough and you really put the work in, you can get there. And I think also just the teamwork element of it, just how a lot of times like film sets, 100 people, sometimes depending on the budget, and it's not all about one person. You could be this great actor, but the camera don't know what they're doing. If the lighting is messed up, it's not going to be a great project. And it's really like, I think playing a team sport like football, that you have to all come together for this common goal to try to make a great project. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that is carried over.
Yeah.
To that point about Thomas Jones, like he was in a role in a short film that I just EP'd, and legit shot him a Hail Mary because one of our actors had to step away, and hit him up, and he was like, "Oh, I'm in LA shooting, but the day that you need me, I have like that half day off. I'm gonna come in. If you can get me for like 4 hours, I'm with you. But then I have to get back to set." And I was like, if you think you can do it, by all means. And he was there, lights out, killed his role, and went back to his production. But I think it's the idea that if you don't do it, somebody else will. I know we've all sort of been ingrained in that in the league. Like I remember my rookie year playing against the Eagles, and on punt, they kept collapsing our side. I was the tackle. My friend was the guard, and they saw something in film that was like, there's a weakness here. We're going to put 5 people on this side and collapse it and try to block every single punt in the game. And I'm a rookie at this point. I'm thinking like, okay, well, we'll fix it in practice, whatever. Literally the next day, Coach Coughlin calls me into his office and is like, you either fix this or we're going to find somebody else that can do the job. And from then on, it was really that idea of like, if I don't write this script, if I don't, produce this or whatever, like somebody else will do it. And I don't want to be locked out of that position or that opportunity. So it's a little bit fear of scarcity, thinking like, you're going to get locked out of those opportunities. But overall, I think football has transitioned me in this position to be able to receive a no and still keep it pushing, like still find a way to get the job done, even though a project can be dead in the water. You're like, okay, but would you guys like this? Or I have 10 other projects that can possibly go. So it's just like being able to take that no or defeat on the chin and still move forward.
Bro, like everyone else said, man, being undrafted, we know how that feels. That dog mentality, bro. Literally every day I wake up wanting to attack, bro. And the thing is this: when you play football or sports, we can see the brothers in the weight room lifting. We can see them getting bigger. We can see them getting faster. Out here in Hollywood, I can't see what none of these guys are doing, or any of the other producers or directors. So that has me up every single night and early in the morning just to get that ball, just to score that touchdown, just to make that tackle. Because I refuse to lose. And that's that football mindset. And I maintain my same energy, my same mindset. I don't change, bro. And you bring that passion to this field, literally, we already have that step above because we know what it's like to get cut and you have to move to a whole nother city. That's way worse than anybody can say, no, I don't want your projects. You ain't got to move nowhere. I'm still here.
Man, you almost got me up doing jumping jacks, man. I almost stood up. Like, what time? Game time. What time?
I tell you legit, one thing we all probably didn't learn was patience coming into this industry. Because again, if you don't do it right, somebody else will. So it's like they ask for an assignment or something, and you're like, all right, I'll have it for you tomorrow. I'll have it for you next week, whatever. But you're sitting there waiting for a week, a month, sometimes half a year or more, waiting for that answer. You're like, I'm ready to go now. So it's that's something I definitely had to learn or create that as a skill for myself is just the overall patience that this industry kind of forces you to sit with.
Yeah. That's real. I mean, especially because like in here, and this could translate to the whole imposter syndrome of it all, in the transition from being a player, sports is a result oriented thing. You know what I mean? Like if you need to have a 40 time to get this certain position, you could work on your technique. You can hit the track and you can get faster and you'll get results. Like you run a route and you beat somebody and you catch a touchdown. Like there's no debating that. The thing that's always tricky about Hollywood is like, you could be the best audition. You could kill the audition, but they give it to their boy or they give it to somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily like merit-based. And I think a lot of that can really affect your confidence in the game because you could go into something knowing that you killed this pitch. Like I pitched on like 6 movies this year and, got a couple, we're going to talk about that talk about one in a little bit. And, but I always think about the ones that I didn't get. And it's like, damn, like I know I killed it. What's happening? You know what I mean? And I think for me, it really wasn't until like that Oscar situation happened. And, I've had success in the industry before that, but it really wasn't until that where I really felt like, all right, like I'm like legitimate, you know what I'm saying? And like people really like, I'm not like this former athlete that's like a dumb jock that can't, really step it up. You know what I mean? And I don't know, sometimes it takes like some validation outside of that. Like I'm sure for you, Spencer, like, when you got your show, like I'm sure that was extremely validating, Isaac, anytime you book a role, you know what I mean? Like there's something to that. And I think when you do encounter so much rejection, it really can have you feeling like, damn, do I even deserve to be out here? Like, am I doing the right thing? Should I try to transition to coaching? Like,
Yeah.
I gotta figure out something else now.
It's kind of like you're trying to find yourself all over again when you leave. When you leave football, it's like you're trying to find who you are as a person in a sense. Well, for me, that was my rock bottom when I left. You know, a lot of things had just transpired. I was I made more money in real estate than I was making in football right there in that, I'm older. So it was right in 2007 range, through some friends that were, doing it. But I also lost all the money in real estate when it crashed up. And so I transitioned. I was like my rock bottom. At one point, I only had $50 in my account and I was ashamed. I didn't know what was going on. It was before mental health was involved. So I didn't know about depression. I didn't know about anxiety. I was going through all these different things. Went to the CFL to try to play up there for a second and end up starting up there and playing more. But at the same time, the passion was starting to leave, and I prayed on it. And I was like, if this not for me, then take it away from me. And that was the one time that, all the other times I got cut or released or something like that, I was thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity. And, you leave because you don't want to burn any bridges. When I left that CFL, I cussed every coach out in that thing, and it felt good. Oh, it felt good. I cussed every coach out in that room when they cut me in the CFL because I knew I was done at that point. But as I started to find, and it felt good. I'm gonna say that again. But when starting to find myself, I started to explore. I started personal training. I was doing some marketing for Hennessy Black. I was doing a lot of different things, trying to figure out what is my passion. And I never felt fulfilled. A 9 to 5 was not going to be me because I felt like I'll be doing a disservice to myself, sitting behind some desk or doing something, and for somebody else. My passion, I learned, was in being creative, finding the truth in characters and reading scripts and finding a story and being able to say, I want to tell this story, and using the words of somebody else, but being that character. And in that, you got to let go of your inhibitions. You have to let go of your ego. You let go of your pride in a lot of ways. All the same things I had to do in life. I was working as a security guard in LA. I worked at a group home in LA. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, you was an NFL football player. Now you're working at this group home and doing security at this restaurant. So I had to release all those things. So the blessings could start coming. And I just kept working my ass off, doing the audition here. And at one point, I was driving overnight from Phoenix to LA just to do a commercial audition and then go back. It was a journey. This shit wasn't easy, man. And I don't think it's easy for anybody when you're making a transition. But if you can sustain and do some of the things, fund the dream is what I call it. Do some of the things you have to do. So the things you want to do, you have to fund the dream. And then eventually, if you can sustain that, then you'll start seeing some success, hopefully, or at least lead you to another direction, something else you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I would say too, like my transition started about 2 or 3 years before I actually made the decision. It came around my 5th year playing where I started realizing like, I won a Super Bowl. I've been on some really good teams, some bad teams. Financially, I felt like I caught up with my peers, and I was starting to look for like just other things. I would do internships every off season just to kind of like pump the resume if need be. But I remember just having that itch for like what else is out there. And it was an internship that I did with a marketing internship I did with Quest Diagnostics in New York, Madison, New Jersey, my bad. And it was the first time like I saw the other side of football where it was like, I'm getting to work at 9:30, 10 a.m. I'm getting off at, 5, going home, making dinner for myself, cracking a beer or two, watching like the Lakers or Warriors play, and then going to sleep and realizing like, yo, this isn't that bad. Like what else is out here that is like sort of this chill? So I started talking to other players on my team and just around the league and being like, have you ever thought about like walking away from it all and finding something else? And I kid you not, every single person except for one player was like, you're crazy, play as long as you can, make as much money as you can, and then retire and just like live the life. And for some reason, I just like never sat right with me. I'm like, nah, there's got to be more than just achieving your dream and being 27, 28 and walking away and thinking like that's going to be enough to sustain your joy and attention for the potentially 70 more years of your life. And it wasn't until Kellen Davis, a tight end for the Jets, after a game we played against him in the UK, and I asked him that same question. I was like, yo, it's my 5th year. Have you ever thought about this? He's like, man, every player gets to that point where they start thinking about, how big the world is, play 2 more seasons and then reevaluate yourself. So I ended up doing that. And when All American actually went, I'm on set, I retired. I think it might have been today, a few years ago, December 29th. I know we're recording this right now, but when I decided to walk away, 4 months later, we were shooting the pilot for All American. So like a complete sprint from retirement to starting that show up, and just being on set those first few days, I realized like there was some people on set that just saw me as the athlete, just saw me as the guy that like they were surprised that I was even on set. They thought I was going to be the like, oh, you come in, you smile for the camera, then you leave for a couple months, but then when up fronts or whatever comes out, here you are back again. But you know, I'm there Tuesday, Wednesday. They're like every single day helping the project move forward. And there was definitely some times where just in their passive comments about, oh, you're probably going to play another year, or you shouldn't be here. Like you should be training for the next season, whatever. I'm like, yo, are you guys like trying to like gaslight me or something? Like I'm here because I want to be here. So it was definitely like that, the mental gymnastics of realizing like, no, this is where I want to be. Like, yes, I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, and I don't care if you win a Super Bowl, an Oscar, book a role, sell a script. We all wake up with that lingering question of like, why am I even doing this? I think it's still all ingrained in us, because I'm not going to say it's not natural for us to be in this position, but we all put upwards of 20 years into the sport that we love to then walk away and start something else. So the fact that we're in this position, I'm only 4 years into this, so I'm still very young in this trajectory, but I definitely deal with imposter syndrome and just everything that comes with that almost daily. But just knowing that if I rely on who I am as a person and my projects, like I'll get some traction in this industry.
Social media doesn't help either.
At all. Man.
I mean, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man.
What advice would y'all tell players when they trying to pinpoint their passion? Like, what would y'all tell the other guys? Just
Explore. Try multiple different things. I mean, I went to the broadcast boot camp. I'm looking online, like what takes the attention, like what makes me happy, because I know I can't do something that's not gonna make me happy. So literally do anything. Like you see my wall, bro. I was painting. I was just teaching myself how to paint just cause. I didn't get paid for it. I was just trying to find things I love. So even if it's not media, it could be working with kids, it could be starting foundations, but literally just find that thing that you just can't get rid of, and you wake up and you are excited to do the job. That would be my advice.
Yeah.
Hobbies, man. To me, it was just like diving into your hobbies. Like I grew up going to a movie 2 or 3 times a week with my uncle. Like I had three uncles. Two of them were my football coaches. The other one pretty much introduced me to like the theater experience, So once it came time to, play professionally, that was my release, but it ended up becoming that hobby of mine. That's like, yo, I know I can't go a week without being in a theater with my popcorn and my water and my Raisinets, because it's part of the mental health of it all as well. But it all started with me was just seeing what I liked outside the sport, and just seeing in terms of the team that I played for, whatever. Like I remember literally just because I was playing for the Giants, I got into like Todd Black's office at Sony, like who's like the main producer with Denzel, like getting into Steve Tish's office and just talking to him about TV and film, like just because film was a hobby. And I'm like, yo, I don't know what I want to ask you, but I know if I'm in this room for an hour with you, something can come up that I can use for the next meeting or the next whatever. But overall, it was just leaning into a hobby that I couldn't live without and seeing where it would take me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, take advantage of looking at these outside interests while you're playing. You know what I mean? Because it's a cold world once you stop. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of leverage that celebrity. And people love football players, right? Like they want to be around you. They answer your questions, and that's something I wish I would have took more advantage of. Is just like actually kind of leveraging that more to get more connects and contacts, and to try different things out, like doing the internships over the summer and things. because once you stop playing, it's a cold game.
It's cold. It's really a cold game. And I speak from a point because I was one of the players that I didn't tap into a lot of the things that I wanted to do outside of football at the point. I let it kind of consume me when I was playing. And but as I started to, like you said earlier, Randy, was explore, like the process of exploring different things and seeing what I did like, because acting wasn't the first thing. Movies wasn't the first thing. I didn't know. So it took me a lot of, and I to speak on it, because now we're more about into the mental health aspect of it, but learn more about yourself. Like, give yourself some grace, but start to learn who you are. Start to learn who you are outside of football. Take the time to know, like you said, find what are you interested in? Like, and just try to go with that, and don't be afraid to try all these different things. Like, you have to try all these different things that come to mind. Like you said, painting or talking and using your celebrity status. People do. Football is a conversational piece. It will get you in the room. It will get you in the room every time, and then from there is what you do with it. But you have to start to look at who you are as a person and learn that, but also keep a good support group around you, man. Keep a good support group. It's got to be solid, because that's what you're going to lean on, because you need the people that's going to tell you, be honest with you, but also give you some saving grace and, and give you some compassion as you start to make this transition, because it's not easy. And you have to give yourself grace in that and know that it's not easy, and just take that. Then you'll take it on the chin, but you're going to be all right. And that's the other thing. You're going to be okay. It's just going to take some time. The patience that you said earlier that we didn't get taught, because everything is, what's going to happen right now, and efficiency and making things happen. So patience it is a virtue. So learn that, and just, realize, take your time and to come around.
I would say too, like, don't be scared to cold email people. Like, I found that to be a big strength. It's like, if I had a question or just anything, or just wanted to offer to take somebody for a cup of coffee just to learn from them, like, I would code email if I found an email of that person, and in the subject line it's Spencer Paysinger, New York Giants or Miami Dolphins, and the idea that you can have that cachet of the team that you play for behind it, like, they're going to read that email, because you could be a billionaire Wall Street trader, but if a New York Giant is in your DMs or in your email, like, you're going to read it. So you code email, get those business cards, and then following up. I think that's a big thing that NFL players don't do. Is like, we have no problem shaking their hands and getting the business cards or whatever, but like, follow up with those people that you're interested in. Like, that goes a long way, because it shows them that you're interested in their career as much as they are with you. So it's just those little things that can build those relationships. You give them 15 minutes of conversation about football, one or two like insider tips about, just what's happening in the locker room, some funny stories, whatever, and you have that connection to them for the rest of your life. So use those things, man.
I should have cold emailed you 6 years ago then. Shit. They find your email, man. I could have been on that. I'm an All-American, okay.
No, you gotta get creative for real.
Man. Yeah. So next question. Name a song that motivates you.
I'm still on that every chance I get, man. That DJ Khaled with Lil Durk and Lil Baby. Hey, they get me going every time, boy. Hey, look, keep going. Yeah, man. I be on it. That's my song, man. Shit, you turn that on. We turn it up.
I got "Nonstop" by Drake, and it was mostly because the title, man. Every single morning, bro, I blasted it here, and just that mentality, bro, not stopping, nonstop.
What's up? Yeah.
I got two. Mine is Childish Gambino, "Stand Tall," and Jay-Z, "So Ambitious." Like, those two for me. Like, "So Ambitious," obviously iconic song or whatever, but like, just the lessons, just like proving people wrong and whatnot. It's all in there. And then "Stand Tall," I feel like I'm saying that to my son, and carrying myself to where my son can like look at me and be like, "All right, Dad did it,"
Yeah. Mine is a little different. Just being a director and always having to give notes and feedback on, helping actors get in tune with their emotions. Like, I always kind of tend to lock in on like 90s R&B. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it was just such a time where people were so free and expressing their emotions and kind of being open, and that always helps me to to motivate to
Yeah.
elicit a good performance out of people.
I find myself like in my trailer, depending on what the scene is like, what's going on, I'll find songs that kind of,
Yeah.
dictate to it. Like if it's, the love scene, I'm put on a little Marvin Gaye,
Yeah,
put
yeah.
that
Yeah, I started playing music on set, like in between takes, just to kind of give it a different vibe. And it's interesting because like you can't really do that for a new show because like they still trying to feel you out and see how you're gonna do. But like if I come back to a show, like I don't know, it's something that is different and it's something that people really appreciate. And I don't know, it just kind of helps people loosen up a little bit.
Cherish the energy. Like music just gives a certain energy and a vibe. Like you can go to a restaurant or like a bar, and if there's no music, it's one thing. But if there's some music playing a little bit in the background, it changes the energy. And I feel like on set, it's important, especially a long day. Have a dance break or something on set. You know what I mean? Like just make everybody start dancing for a second and then get back into it. Them night shoots be hell sometimes, man.
Yeah.
So overnight shoots. So you gotta bring that energy. I bring my speaker. I keep it over. I keep it quiet, and I kind of feel out who's into it. Once I start seeing some people dancing, then I'll turn it up a little bit.
There you go.
They vibing off of it. So yeah, it'd be good, man. Music is powerful.
It really is.
What's that next one? A habit, huh? What habit have you adopted in the last year that has improved your mental health, fellas? Come on, let's talk mental health for a second.
I started to do therapy. I signed up to therapy, and through like NFL PA, they got things just like 8 free sessions a year.
Yes.
So after you retire, I took advantage of that, and it re-upped every year. So that was my biggest mental health that I've done.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. I have a standing therapy appointment every Tuesday at 11 a.m. And then I made a decision like not to lift weights for a while. I don't think I actually touched like a physical like loose weight in probably over 3 years. But I was just finding those alternative like workouts like Peloton, or I got a yoga membership to a place not too far from us. Like just finding those different ways of working out instead of like throwing 3 plates, 4 plates on our back and doing what we've been doing. Because I want to play with my kids, so I have no desire to put 315 on my back ever again.
So real.
I feel that.
I would say for me, I don't know if this is a great answer or not, but like video games, man, like I think just something where you could just like sit down and like not really, because the industry is so mentally taxing, and it's like in a lot of ways you're always kind of, and you add the social media thing, you're like looking at what people doing, who got something that you should have had, you thought you should have had, and it really can affect you. And I think anything where you like can just sit down and watch a movie, watch TV, watch reality TV, because it ain't like the same thing that you do, or get into video games or something is always great because it just helps to keep your mind off of things. And
Yeah, I think mine was therapy. I started therapy, and I've been doing that. But I think also I like doing. I read a lot of self-help books, like just kind of just books like Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer helped me get through a lot of the transition when I first started. And then just slowing things down to the speed of life. It's just different books that helped me because I started learning more about myself, and through therapy, also learning what triggers you. And because we take on so many different things, you said social media throughout our everyday life. Like I said earlier, you're getting told no, and we're getting rejections, and those things start to weigh on you after a while. And it started to weigh on you, and you start seeping out into your personal life sometimes, and certain things that you do, how you react, how you wake up in the morning, and then so talking about the morning is meditation too, man. Meditation has helped me out a lot. Starting my days off with meditation. Sometimes even during the day, I will stop to the side and take 10 deep breaths just so I can ground myself back and to be able to understand what's going on, in my surroundings. And it's helped me out a lot, man. I think it still ties into like, starting to learn who you are and learning more about yourself. And then you start realizing other people need to do it too. Everybody needs therapy for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely that like the whole like self-talk of it all. And I learned this in therapy where my therapist was literally telling me like, yo, you coach yourself negatively because your coaches for so many years, they're taught to only coach up the negative aspects of you. So like, we're not spending all day in film talking about how great we all are. We're spending all day in film talking about how we can get better, or the play that we messed up and how we can get a step faster or read a play better. But the DNA of that is something is wrong and we have to fix it. So I think a lot of us, specifically myself, like we go through life always looking for the problem to fix instead of like reaffirming ourselves and kind of like, patting ourselves on the back for things that we're doing. So it's definitely like finding good ways of self-talk and just kind of just pumping those affirmations into you, because we're going to deal with the negative stuff. Like we're going to deal with the problems. We want to fix them. We're going to find a way to do it. But we have to figure out a way to like consistently pump positivity into us, which we weren't really taught growing up.
I would literally, if I didn't feel like going to the gym, when I get up and I go, I'll come back and be like, good job today. All right. Like just tell myself, good job getting that workout in. I know you didn't feel like going. But them affirmations are huge, man, because it's telling yourself positive talk. Because like I said, there's so much negative and rejection stuff out there that it's good to give yourself those affirmations. Build yourself up, man. It's huge. Yep. What we got there? All right,
So,
fellas. Hey, this is a great panel, man. I'm enjoying y'all conversation.
Likewise. I mean, now we can like brag a little bit now. We can let our hair down. But what current projects do you guys have in the works or recently finished?
I want Matthew Cherry. You said something earlier. I want you to go and get this, man. Go and let it out. Let it out.
That project that Brandon was talking about. So gonna be directing that, man. We doing it through Will Smith's company, Westbrook, and it's gonna be coming out on Netflix. And Jada Pinkett is attached to it. So really excited.
Congrats, fellas.
In the planning process as we speak.
That was crazy. Yeah, because we interviewed Matt, and I was like, guys, do we have to interview anybody else? Like right after, I was like, come on, guys, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? He got it. He brought that NFL mentality that we're talking about, and he went after it, and he ate. And now he's directing it. So I'm hyped about it. He knows I'm hyped. I'll be telling everybody I'm hyped about it.
And man, to get your flowers, the last fall helped me, man. I watched that, man. When you directed that, man, that the last fall helped, and I'm glad you shine light on the process, because as a player, a lot of times, once you undrafted or whatnot, your peers and people around you think you're a millionaire as soon as you out there. As soon as you get picked up, you're a millionaire all of a sudden. Oh, you play in the NFL. You like, man, look, I'm living in this little apartment over here. I'm trying to look at all these checks. After 6 months, I'm not getting paid no more. And so all those things, man, and just the hardship, because that getting cut and everything, like, man, that makes you emotionally unstable. Put it that way. It makes you emotionally unstable, and you timed in a lot of that back. You tied a lot of that into that film, man. And I want to give you flowers on that, bro. I appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And before you go, we handing out flyers right now. I was actually taking acting classes, and this girl was like, "Hey, have you heard about All American? They're casting right now." I was like, "What?
Oh, dope.
What is this?" And this was like before the pilot was even shot. And I looked it up, and I said, "Okay, I see this guy. He played in the NFL. He did it. Okay, I'm gonna go out and do it." And that's pretty much when I transitioned from acting to the producing side. And then I saw Matt win the damn Oscar. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, okay, he can do it. I can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Where the Oscar at, Matt? Where the Oscar at?
Yeah, where is the Oscar at?
He looked dead at it. He looked dead at it just now. I'll do it.
No, I didn't.
I saw you like, there it is.
Where's it? Oscar, man, go get the Oscar, man. I want to see the Oscar, bro.
Oh man, I'll maybe pull him out. All right,
man, pull it out, bro.
I was mad. I was actually hating on Matt when he did it, because I remember when Kobe got his, I was like, I'm gonna be the next one. And then Matt jumped in front of me, and I'm like, come on.
I had to do it with a short, man. You have to do it with a short, because it's like a shorter process, man.
Yeah, your category. All American, man. Talk about it, bro. What season y'all going on now?
It's been great. We're in the middle of our 4th season. We're on a hiatus right now. We're coming back in February because of the Olympics. We have our spinoff coming February 21st about the All-American Homecoming, which follows one of our main characters.
I love it.
Hey. That's been
dropped that truck of money off at your front door, didn't they? I know they did. You act like that. They pulled that truck up, opened up the back, and just dumped it on your driveway. Shit, talk about it.
Nah, man, it's been a dope experience. Our showrunner NK has been building out this like crazy universe, and just excited for everybody to see the next iteration of what All American can be. I sold a film to Disney that I'm currently writing right now, called Battle of Atlanta. It's about a young black kid that finds himself sort of in the world of XMA, which is like a performative art of type of karate. And then, yeah, man, EP and a documentary about Bishop Sycamore with Adam McKay and Michael Strahan. Again, that just kind of came about too, like leaning on the football community. When that story dropped of the fake high school playing IMG Academy, I just ended up reaching out to a few players, and one of my good friends works for Adam McKay. And once Michael Strahan came out and said he had the main guys, Roy Johnson, his life rights, just because me and Strahan played on the Giants during different eras, and I had his number, I sent him a cold text like, "Hey, we never really talked, but my name is Spencer, and I've been talking to some of the coaches. You have the main guy. Do you want to team up and do this? I'm bringing Adam McKay with me if you want." And right then and there, he was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So I've been back and forth between Ohio and LA for the past couple of months, doing interviews and everything, and that's been a great process. But just producing, writing. I've been pitching a few TV shows right now, and a couple more movies. So I just never wanted All American to be the only thing. I never wanted to be the guy that had All American on the air. It was like the guy that did All American now doing other things. So just pivoting where I can.
Dope, man. With me, man, it's just kind of been a process. I mean, it was, once we started acting, it was a commercial here, and then get a guest star, co-star here. I even auditioned for Cherry for one of his projects back in the day. Yeah, it was back, man. It was years ago, but I came in the room. I think it was a small. I'm not sure what it was. I'm not sure the project, but that was the first time because I remember you did the last fall, and then I came in. But if you don't remember, I guess I didn't do too well.
Nah.
They definitely didn't cast me in it. But that's the process. So we still going. Hey, I'm still going, Terry. You didn't shut me down, bro. Hey, look, your no turned into many yeses.
No,
There we go.
no, I want to be the villain in your story.
No, but that just goes back. It's subjective, man. Everything is subjective. You said earlier you can go in there and kill an audition and still not get the role because you're too tall, or you remind the producer of somebody, something like that. So that they don't care about. So it's so many different things. It's very subjective in that aspect. But I think now, as I continue to have different roles and build up, now I'm in the Power universe. So now I'm playing a role named Diamond Sampson on Power Book 4. It's the spinoff for Tommy's coming back, man. He's canceling Christmas and all that good stuff. And
Chicago, I love it.
Yeah, Chi-Town, stand up, man. It was just great, man. It was. I mean, when I first got the part, there was a lot of F-bombs I was yelling and fist pumps, Michael Jordan fist pumps, Tiger Woods fist pumps, all of those, because it was now a series regular role on something that I know was going to be phenomenal because it was a part of something that was packaged already that now I just get to be a part of. And the character, man, I just fell in love with the character. And a lot of times as actors, you come across, a lot of these roles, you're like, okay, I can pull that off, I can do that. But when something aligns with you and you like, no, this is me. Like, I can, this is me. I just need them to see it. I'm going to do my part, but I just need them to see the same thing. And it takes a lot for those things to align appropriately for you to get that part.
Yep.
There's other people auditioning for it and everything else. Like, for them to say yes, it goes to what we talked about earlier. You got to celebrate your wins because there's so many things, so many no's. So I was like, and that's what I adapted to my life, to celebrate these wins, celebrate the things that I'm doing in life. And I'm just happy to do Power Book 4, man. February 6th, stars. If you ain't got it, get it, wait, or whatever you got to do, get it then, and whatever you got to do. But tap in, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm excited about it.
And I gave you your flowers off screen, but I'm gonna do it right now. Like, I remember when I popped on and saw your face, I was like, "Oh, you're from Get Shorty." Like, I remember watching that show, watching every season of it, wanting to get that. You said it was 4th season. I know I'm all caught up, but I remember watching you on there and 3 seasons, like not knowing that you played football, not knowing your background, but knowing like, he's got a football build. I didn't look you up or anything, but I knew, like, a football player when you see one. And you know how tall somebody is. Sometimes they try to make, action, stars or whatever, they're actually like 5'7", 5'6",
Oh, yeah.
Right.
so they shoot
Right.
low
For
high.
sure.
I was like, nah,
For
this
sure.
dude got some like legit size on him. Like I either had your hand in the dirt or you was making some calls as a Mike linebacker or something, but
Yeah.
you had that quiet confidence about you that like every time I saw you on film, I was like, I feel like me and him, like we know some similar people or same people or whatever, but again, like did a great job on that series. So I'm excited to see what comes
I appreciate
with
I
Power
appreciate it, bro. Thank you, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, bro. It's been real, man. Hey, and now we all connected for sure. It's crazy. We all in LA. We all in LA, so we connected, man. And I hope that we, some of the things that we shared, that we can help other people. Like I hope they can find some of the the questions that we answered in some of our stories and find it in their own lives and help them, man, because it is a community. I mean, especially when it comes to football, we all kind of have a lot of similarities, and I hope that we can help other people because that's what it's really all about when it comes down to it. How can I inspire or help somebody else, in my passion?
Absolutely.
So hopefully that happens, man.
Sure.
Brandon, what high school did you go to?
Corona Centennial. Best high school in California.
I was like, I remember your name.
Public school in California, we're the best.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, y'all are.
I coached at Orange Luther for a season. We saw y'all. That's when y'all was really well. That was like 2015 or something, like 16. Something they was doing well. Yeah, y'all ran it up.
Yeah, I went to the game, man. It's real down there.
Yeah, for sure.
Real.
Pretty crazy.
But yeah, man, it's been great talking with you guys. It definitely feels natural. And whenever I'm like, I find myself in these industry settings, and I see somebody that comes from similar background to me, it's just like always making sure to share a few words, make contact, and just know that like we can really build that web of athletes that have transitioned into the space and not doing it on some, just signing off for a project, walking away and coming back when the lights are flashing. Like y'all are all testaments to like us being in the dirt, doing it every single day, doing those early call times. I know we all know what those early call times and then, those late finishes, wraps, they do, but we can really like, be the catalyst for building out that web of athletes. So when, people that will be watching this, when they're interested in something, they can hit up one of us and we can plug and play as we go. Just continue to build this, it's a brotherhood, fraternity, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely something.
Sure.
So it's conversations like this that who knows going to listen to it or watch it and potentially change their thinking on this whole industry. So I commend you guys for being on the panel, and that's just, I'm just chopping it up.
Love it. I'm about to cold email all y'all. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Cold email.
Yeah, man. If there's any way that can be of assistance or anything too, and I don't know if y'all are ever interested in TV directing. If y'all ever want to shadow and kind of get it in, let me know.
Yes.
Weird, obviously, with COVID, but it'll be better soon.
Yeah. I'm taking you up on that. I'm definitely taking you up on that.
I am too. Yeah, for sure. On Brandon's project. Yeah, I'll be right there.
Ain't nothing better on set than nothing better than one big black dude on set than two.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not too proud. I will go get coffee. I will move lights. Like,
Me too.
I'm totally fine doing
part of
it.
the process.
The job got to get done. It got to get done.
No, it's real. I mean, and honestly, I feel like that. All y'all feel like that, and I think that's why everybody's been successful. You know what I mean? Not afraid to get it in and pay the dues and do what you got to do. So major props and respect, man.
Yes, love. All love, fellas. Well, y'all keep on doing y'all thing, man. We'll do things, and we'll stay in touch, and we'll help as many people as we possibly can.
For sure.